Let's dive straight in. What's new with IAS, first of all? You guys are on a bit of a tear at the moment, it seems to me.
I've been at IAS for just over 5 years, and before that, 20 years in technology at companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Yahoo. And what IAS does is we're a leading optimization and measurement company. The majority of our customers are major brands like Coke, Nestle, Verizon, and we verify the quality of media where the brands run. They want to make sure wherever they're running their digital advertising, it's adjacent to brand safe and brand suitable content. In addition to the brands, we also have a robust publisher business, so both buy side, sell side, and we're integrated in the center of the digital ecosystem. So we have deep integrations across all of the major tech platforms, social platforms, DSPs. We absolutely have a lot to talk about.
Awesome. Let's dive straight in then. Okay. AI. So inevitably, we are going to be talking a lot about AI, I think, at this CAN and for the foreseeable future. It's driving a huge disruption of the industry. Give us a sense, particularly thinking about the misinformation issue, about the scale of the problem. What is AI going to create as a problem for our industry?
That's a long, how much time do you have?
We've got a while.
All right, so I could talk forever about AI. So science is in the name of Integral Ad Science, and we are deep in science, deep in tech. We share publicly that a third of our engineering org is made up of data scientists, and with AI in particular, we're leveraging AI to power many of our products. I could take you through the product portfolio, but especially now, given it's such an election year, not just US elections, but I've read stats that there will be over 2 billion people globally voting in over, I think, 60 elections worldwide. AI is really important when it comes to things like misinformation, and in particular with the upcoming US elections this fall.
Because AI is funny. It's both part of the problem, but also part of the solution. Yeah. Let's do the problem first of all. How is AI going to make the conducting of elections more complicated? What really is the AI-driven misinformation problem? What do we have to be aware of and concerned about?
Yeah, so it is a paradox. We're living in a paradox when it comes to AI, and I'll step back for a minute, and before we get into the elections and misinformation, I'd like to spend a minute, if it's okay, talking about our multimedia classification technology and what we've built, and that's running on all of the major social platforms, because I think it's important to set that table and then talk about misinformation, right. Okay? So how many of you remember a few years ago when brands were banning social platforms? They didn't even want to run digital advertising. You're nodding your head, you remember? Because the brands were pressuring the social platforms, especially during COVID, open up the live feed, have independent third-party verifications come in to verify the quality of the media. And TikTok was the first large social platform to raise their hand and say, we want to be the most transparent social platform globally. So we built a technology, it's called Total Media Quality, or TMQ, and it's multimedia classification technology backed by AI. I'm sure you're sitting there, John, wondering, what is that? In a nutshell, let's just say a 30-second video is running in a live feed of a social platform. We can classify frame by frame. So that means, how many of you are on social platforms? I'm sure everyone is. So what that means is we're classifying every single second of a 30-second video. We can classify video, image, audio, text in a live feed. That's a big deal for the brands, because 30-second video, every single frame by frame, we can say appropriate, appropriate, inappropriate. Things that are inappropriate are things like violence, hate speech, right? Adult content. We've built this technology to scale. It's backed by AI. It's global. We are now running TMQ, the technology, in TikTok in over 60 markets, over 30 languages. YouTube, we launched in Meta, in all 3 live feeds of Meta in early February. We're running on X. In the last, I'd say 3 weeks, we launched or announced that we're going to launch Reddit, Snap, and Pinterest. So we've been busy.
So this is the solution.
This is the
What's
technology. This is the technology. And what the challenge is for brands is brands want to rest assured, especially when they invest billions and billions of digital advertising dollars in the social platforms. It's highly dynamic, unpredictable, user-generated content. They know that's where the users are, but they just want to make sure when I run my Disney brand, when I run my Nestle brand, it's adjacent to brand safe, brand suitable. So the problem, again, this is the paradox, it's where users are. Brands want to be where users are. Short form video, the creation, the sharing, the consumption is at an all-time high. But they want independent third-party companies like IAS in that platform to hold the platforms accountable. Now let's talk misinformation. So that's the technology backed by AI. And if I had $1 or €1 for every brand that has said to me in the last, let's say 6 to 12 months, Lisa, we are terrified, especially with the upcoming US elections in 2024, I don't know what I should do. Should I pull my brand advertising? Should I shift it? Should I change the messaging? Get a misinformation technology out in the live feeds of the social platforms. So initially, we had it planned for the back half of 2024, but there was so much demand from the brands. Very proud of our data science team, product team. Benoit's here. Owns the product. There you go, Benoit. We took the product tech roadmap and we pulled it into first half. So we've launched misinformation detection on TikTok and Meta, and it is both AI-backed. It's AI-backed, also confirmed by humans. The important point about misinformation in general is that it's so nuanced. You might, and I don't want to get political, but you might post something political. I might post the same thing, but given your historical posting activity versus mine, there are different nuances, your intention versus mine. So it's so important when it comes to misinformation that there is a human layer too. And we partner with a company based in the UK called GDI that AI technology detects, and then GDI, the human layer, humans confirm, yes, this is misinformation or it's
not. So the
not.
AI is flagging, and then the humans...
The human can see the nuance and train the model so that the model gets smarter and smarter. I can give an example if it'd be helpful.
So just to be clear, it's a lazy cliche to characterize this as an arms race, but is there something in it that on the one side we have bad actors using the viral characteristics of social platforms to distribute misinformation, which often spreads very fast. And on the other side, we have IAS, the platforms and brands, and other agents trying to prevent that spread.
Correct. Trying to flag it. Our job is to flag, train the models, make the platforms aware. That's correct. And if I'm not able to demo up here, again, this is no political statement, but what our technology can do right now, so let's say there's a live, again, I'm not getting political, a live Russian news interview with Putin right now. He's being interviewed in Russian. There's a banner below while he's being interviewed. I don't speak Russian. Do you speak Russian?
Not a
there
word.
You go. There's a banner below, Putin supports Biden's position on whatever, okay? Our technology, real time, because the tech can operate in over 90 languages, can translate, classify what Putin is saying real time, real time can classify the banner, the text below, and flag it and say, this is misinformation. It's not what Putin's saying.
Can I ask a silly question? Is this an arms race we're ultimately doomed to lose because of the need for human intervention? So the bad actors can spew out misinformation at a most phenomenal rate. They can pollute networks with incredibly large volumes of deeply malicious material. But if we've always got to rely on humans ultimately to intervene at some point, are we going to lose this arms race?
I don't think it's a question of win-lose.
Right.
I think there are a few things. It will never be, the technology in general, it will never be 100% perfect, highly dynamic, user-generated, unpredictable. What's important is training the models to be able to detect, but it is whack-a-mole. Do you know what whack-a-mole is?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So it is.
That one across the Atlantic.
That's the most important point, is getting as accurate fed back into the model to train the model so that we're able to detect it. The other thing I forgot to mention that, again, I'm so proud of the data science team that we launched shortly after misinformation, deep fake detection. That's a whole nother topic, where we launched that technology in May, late April, early May. And the first thing we're looking at, face swapping.
Right.
You know what face swapping is?
I'm desperately keen to find out.
Yeah.
Tell us.
So it's
I kind of feel it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had like a Taylor Swift face. But so what it detects is, AI generated content where you might have, I'll make it up, like the voice of Taylor Swift on someone else's face and total misrepresentation. And our technology can pick that up.
So next question. Why are you doing this, not the platforms? So
good question.
Shouldn't the platforms be responsible for the content that they publish?
Yeah. So the platforms are totally and completely leaning into also detecting misinformation, detecting inaccuracies, flagging the bad actors. So this is in partnership with the platforms. But the reality is, as the brands, again, they invest billions and billions of dollars in the platforms every year. It is very important for the brands to have an independent player in the mix too, holding the platforms accountable, because the brands, the last thing they would be is comfortable with any platform grading their own homework when they're writing the checks.
So the platforms, first of all, are they doing enough?
Yes.
Okay.
So the platforms, and I personally spend a lot of time with the platforms, and when you think about the scale and reach and over 2 billion people voting this year, it's a lot of content to stay on top of. So
I sometimes think the platforms are like bulls in a rodeo, that we've created these things and the owners are hanging on for dear life as the thing kicks and bucks and tries to throw them off. It's a tough beast to control and manage.
Yes, but they are fully invested in ensuring it's a great user experience, also a great experience for the brands, and their job is to ensure there's engagement across the users and the brands. And the platforms have been very public about all of the initiatives they're doing when it comes to misinformation and the upcoming U.S. elections, but it is very complex.
So you're doing great stuff. The platforms are trying to do stuff. Do we need to see more collaboration? Is there some scope for a meta effort, pardon the pun, to try and bring everyone together for some common solutions? Could collaboration solve any of these problems?
Great question. I mean, we are collaborating together. I think what's really important is that the faster our technology can detect those bad actors, flag the bad actors, and the bad actors get exited off stage and get ahead of it, I think that That's a really important, which they're
consistent way of
doing.
taking down
A
bad
systematic way of taking down
Like
the
group
bad
whack-a-mole.
actors. Yes, and then the second thing, and we are so deeply invested in AI. I'm convinced there is this short window of opportunity right now to just innovate and leverage AI. It's fighting AI with AI. I mean, that's
Right.
what it comes down to. And the more the platforms can invest, companies like IAS, in terms of ensuring that the detection is highly accurate, getting ahead. I mean, it's so unpredictable what these bad actors are capable of, and getting ahead of it. But I fully agree with the importance of the collaboration.
Next question, our penultimate question for this panel, this discussion. Just draw the link between brand safety, brand suitability, and misinformation. Obviously, a lot of what happens in platforms is user-generated, it's witty, it's occasionally a bit edgy. Does misinformation, particularly around the political cycle, pose a particular risk or set of concerns for brands?
Our thesis is, and our job is to ensure the brands run adjacent to high quality media, right? That the brands are not running adjacent to inappropriate and they're next to the appropriate. Our thesis is also higher quality media leads higher ROI. This includes misinformation. And we've shared data like our multimedia classification technology. We've seen 27% increase of higher quality media on the social platforms. We put misinformation in that bucket too.
Should the classification of misinformation extend to US news networks spreading highly opinionated and often misleading commentary about certain candidates?
Good question.
Should we be taking down news clips from certain well-known news networks?
So, again,
if it's demonstrably false?
There's a difference between opinion and false. We play in the space of false, accurate, inaccurate.
But do you think the social platform, the consumers, the users, the viewers are always aware of that distinction?
I think the social platforms, their job is to promote free speech. Yes, I do.
Okay.
And our job is it accurate? Is it inaccurate? We cannot get into the space of this opinion. We can't play in the gray area.
But there are undoubtedly gray areas, unfortunately.
There are gray areas, but we're in the accuracy game.
Final question then. I'm hoping you're going to paint a picture of a future which isn't too dystopian, but give us a sense of how you see deepfakes and misinformation evolving over the next 5 years. What can we get concerned about by 2030? And do we have the solutions today, or will we have the solutions to deal with those future problems?
2030. All right. So we're in 2024. There are a few things. So when I speak with the brand's request is always, I just want to sleep easy at night. I want brand safety and suitability always on, wherever I'm running digital media. I never have to think about it. And IAS, you're ahead of what's next to come. That's the first thing. The second thing with the brands is the acknowledgement, and we saw this 180 shift during COVID, where the brands fully understand 100% accuracy is impossible.
Right.
We are on this journey together, right? And it's just so important that they have a brand safety and suitability strategy in place.
But and I get slightly nervous about it. So when I talk to the studios, and obviously this was a big feature in the recent writers' strikes and the actors' strikes, that the studios are looking at technology to generate completely lifelike simulations of well-known Hollywood actors or extras or whatever, that the audience will not be able to distinguish from a real thing. And I suppose what worries me is that when we have networks flooded with Biden simulations, saying weird stuff. Luckily, this is the final question. Do we need to get nervous about this future, or you're confident we have the tools? We can keep up.
I think what's important in speaking with the brands that if they're creating Gen AI content, that they're upfront with the consumer and label it as Gen AI.
That's a great moment to end.
Yes,
Ladies
let's
and
go
gentlemen,
watch the
Lisa,
runners.
thank you so much.
Thank you.